Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on PIB monthly compilation, and I'll be discussing PIB for the month of December. Talking about the PIB initiative, PIB per se, it's a very important point of connect between the government and its important policies that is being released. And for a civil services aspirant, this particular initiative or analysis part will help you both in the prelims examination as well as in the mains examination. Talking about the other part of the examination, it help you in the essay paper as well, right? And some further point can be relevant for the interview purposes as well. So PIB informations are holistic in nature in the civil services examination preparation. So without any further delay, let's get started. And talking about the content that I'll be discussing in this session, we'll proceed with General Studies Paper 2 related important news. General Studies Paper 3, some news that is brief in nature, some bilateral agreements and summit for the month of December, and again followed by the military exercises and initiative. So this is how the entire discussion will follow. And before I proceed with the discussion session, if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press like button. So starting the session with General Studies Paper 2 related news. Among them, the first is about the Maritime Anti-Piracy Bill 2022, which is again very much relevant for the prelims examination per se. A direct question or two-statement question can be framed in prelims and also relevant for the mains examination. Recently, the Rajya Sabha has passed the Maritime Anti-Piracy Bill 2022. And the bill provides for the preventions of maritime piracy and even strengthen the punishment for those who are convicted for such crime. The bill was initially introduced in Lok Sabha in December 2019 and was referred to the Standing Committee on External Affairs for examination or scrutiny. India is one of the largest provider of seafarer in the world. This is again a factual point, an informative point that you can use as a fourth point. Now, key features of bill की अगर बात करें, बिल के अंदर प्रोविजंस रखी गई है जहां पे प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मैरिटाइम पायरेसी को रखी गई है, which strengthen the India maritime security and give an effective legal instrument to combat the menace. The bill also enabled the country to fulfill its international obligations and provide India standing at the global forum. So this is on the parameters of the global practices that is being done across the globe. That this bill will also strengthen our maritime security, including the safety of our maritime trade routes, and will bring India safer into international water. So to give you an idea how these things work, if you see this is a line area, right? This is a continental shelf and this is an area deep seabed. So territorial sea की अगर बात करें, this is considered by 12 nautical mile from the baseline. If you come to the contiguous zone which is up to 12 nautical mile, उसके ऊपर exclusive zone मानी जाती है up to 200 nautical mile from the baseline, right? And then there is a high sea, right? This is how the calculation goes by the UNCLOS. Now, provisions of death penalty has been included under this bill. So in the bill, the government has added the provision of death penalty and life imprisonment for those convicted in maritime piracy. The bill addressed the issues of death penalty as an exceptional case. ऐसा नहीं कि हर एक cases में death penalty easily दे दी जाएंगी. There will be some exceptional case upon which the death penalty will be there with the quantum of punishment that is envisaged in the line and gravity of the offences. The bill provides for stringent punishment for those who are convicted in such crime. And in absence of such specific law or legal provisions in the Indian Penal Code, the Code for the Criminal Procedures on Piracy, the Maritime Anti-Piracy Bill will provide an effective legal instrument to combat maritime piracy. तो ये एक ऐसी इंपॉर्टेंट बिल है जहाँ पे डायरेक्ट आपसे मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में एनालिटिकल क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे जा सकते हैं. It would also enable to discharge its obligations under the United Nations Convention on the Law for Seas, that is UNCLOS. Now, the other topic or other news, that is first SERPA meeting of India's G20 presidency. So at the first meeting of the G20 Sherpas, India has recently proposed devolving climate actions with sustainable development, making a clear bid to bring issues facing emerging economy with the Global South in Sherpa focus at the world stage. India has just, on a rotational basis, has taken the presidency of G20 from Indonesia and will continue this G20 presidential till November 2023, right? फोकस एरिया की अगर बात करें इस मीटिंग में, टेक्नोलॉजिकल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इन डिजिटल इकोनॉमी, हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन, ग्रीन डेवलपमेंट और इंडिया की जो अपनी इनिशिएटिव है लाइफ स्टाइल फॉर द एनवायरमेंट इनिशिएटिव, बेटर नोन एज लाइफ इनिशिएटिव, was the focus area. Other important issues include the CEPA's expressed a strong support for India's presidency and for priorities that has been outlined. And India's objective is to present its narrative at global agenda and seeks high development achievement, also the tourism potential and cultural heritage. The issues such as climate finance, food security, energy prices that every country and G20 can bring together. India's presidency will seek to advocate priorities for developing countries and global south in addition to that of the partner of the grouping. Initiative on digital transformations की अगर बात करें, the initiative on digital transformation focuses on digital public infrastructure, quite a bit on our experience of creating a identical and bank account for everyone. This will enable a vast selections of population above the poverty line through the direct benefit transfer from the fast payments. Now, some important news that is relevant for General Studies Paper 3. Among them, the first is the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022. Recently, the Rajya Sabha has passed the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill, which seeks to affect India's obligations under the Convention on International Trade of Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. This is better known as CITES. तो उसकी ऑब्लिगेशंस को पूरे करते हुए गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन अमेंडमेंट बिल 2022 पास किया. अगेन वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. So make sure you're thorough with the entire bill and its important provisions. So what is the aim of the bill? The bill seeks for the better management of protected areas and also provides certain permitted activities like grazing, movement of livestock, and bona fide use of drinking and household water by the local community. So these are the permitted things that has been there in the bill. Very important. A direct question can be framed from prelims examination point of view. According to the statement of objective, the reason of the bill is Wildlife Protection Act 1972 that was enacted to provide wildlife with basically wildlife animals, birds, plant to view, ensuring the ecological environment security for the country. The bill also seeks to include the aspect of conservation, management of the wildlife, and will cover the act that make amendment for better management of the protected areas. The Wildlife Protection Bill proposes for rationalization and amending of the schedule, which lists out wildlife specific for the purpose for clarity, ensuring care of seized life animal and dispose of seized wildlife parts and other products. The bill further seeks to enable control of invasive alien species that allow transport of live elephants by person having an ownership certificates in accordance with the condition prescribed by the central government. Now, a new chapter has been added in this bill. This chapter is known as 5B. And as per the amendment, the proposed amendment has inserted 5B in the Act for the regulation of international trade for endangered species of wild fauna and flora and allow the State Board for the Wildlife to constitute a standing committee. Now, India is party to the Conservation on International Trade of Endangered Species for Wildlife and Fauna, better known as CITES, right? And which require an appropriate measures to be taken to enforce the provisions of the conventions. Now, the other news, that is the National Ganga Council meet via video conferencing. This type of conference is important for both for the central government as well as for the state government, right? This is a classical example for cooperative federalism. This was the second meeting of the National Ganga Council. Recently, the Prime Minister has attended the National Ganga Council via video conferencing. The Prime Minister noted that it was a great opportunity for India to discuss the way and to strengthen the Namami Gange initiative. He spoke about the ways to enhance the cleanest efforts, including expanding network of sewage treatment plants in their smaller towns. Now, during the meeting, the Prime Minister has emphasized on the way to ensure various forms of herbal farming along with the Ganga. About the National Ganga Council, which might be relevant for the prelims examination. So, National Ganga Council is chaired by the Prime Minister. He is the ex officio chairman of this council. The National Ganga Council is formed under the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. It has been given over responsibility for superintendence, pollutions preventions, regenerations of Ganga River Basin, including the Ganga and its tributaries. The National Mission on Clean Ganga act as implementing arms of the National Ganga Council. Now, there's other program by the government of India, that is Namami Gange program. It's an international integrated conservation mission approved in a flagship program by the Union government in 2014. This is accompanied by a twin objective of effective abatement of the pollutions and conservation of regeneration of the river Ganga. It is operated under the Department of Water Resources, River and Development and Ganga Regeneration by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. The program is implemented by the National Mission for Clean Ganga and its state counter organization, that is a program management group. Now, अगर बात करें नमामि गंगे program is a wing that is the National Ganga Council set up in 2016, which replaced the National Ganga River Basin Authority. Now, the other news, that is Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022. Recently, the Rajya Sabha has passed the Energy Conservation Bill, which seeks to empower the central government to specify the carbon credit trading scheme. फीचर्स की अगर बात करें इस बिल की, यहाँ पे अमेंडमेंट की गई है एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन एक्ट 2001 की, जो कि सीक करती है फॉर द मैंडेट ऑफ द यूज ऑफ नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल सोर्सेज, बिकॉज इंडिया हैज मेड ऑब्लिगेशंस इन द पेरिस क्लाइमेट चेंज ऑल्सो, एंड इवन फॉर कोप 26 की अगर बात करें वहाँ पे भी कमिटमेंट की गई है, एंड इवन फॉर द कोप 27 एज वेल, राइट, इंक्लूडिंग द ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन, green ammonia, biogas, ethanol, and other sources of energy, right, to establish carbon market. The bill seeks to bring the large residential building within the fold of the conservation regime and also enhance the scope for the energy conservation building and amend the penalty provisions. Now, bill ne aim kiya hai to bring large residential building with the minimum connection load of 100 kilowatt or a contract demand of 120 kilowatt ampere within the fold of energy conservation regime. The bill will also seek for the increased members in the governing council for the Bureau of Energy Efficiency and empower the state electricity regulatory commissions to make a smooth discharge of its functioning. As for the draft bill, the designated consumers may require to meet the proportions of their energy requirement from the non-fossil sources. Now, carbon credit aims to reduce the carbon emissions and address the climate change. Carbon credit trading की अगर बात करें, which is a new concept in India although, the bill empower the central government to specify the carbon credit traded scheme, and the carbon credit implies एक tradable permit दी जाती है to produce a specific amount of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. So this is a permission which is given by the government to a specific entity. The central government or any authorized agency may issue the carbon credit to the entities registered and compliant with the scheme. The entity will be entitled to trade the certificates, or any person may purchase carbon credit certificate on a voluntary basis as well. Framework of regulatory energy की अगर बात करें, the bill provide for the framework for the regulation of energy consumption, providing energy efficiency and energy conservations. Energy efficiency mean using less energy to perform the same task. Now, there's a water impact summit. This is the 7th Water Impact Summit which was there. So recently the 7th edition of India's Water Impact Summit was organized by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Sometimes the name of the ministry is also directly asked in the examination. About the summit, it's a 3-day summit that experts from the country and abroad has discussed the issues with regard to the protections of the large and small river basin. और थीम की बात करें, restoration and conservation of small river in large basin की बात की गई है. The emphasis was also an aspect of mapping the conservation of 5 P's which involve people, policy, plan, program and project. The summit aims at giving an insight into the potential cause of the divergence and formula for strategies to achieve the convergence. Now, all experts were unanimously on the part of the directions of the river health and cannot be asserted based upon only the biochemical parameters. Financial forum is again an important aspect of the meeting. The summit hosted the financial forum, a special track जहाँ पे global financial institutions और investor जो interested हैं restorations के लिए उनको भी invite की गई, and the conservation program was an inevitable part of the finance forum. The 2022 summit, earlier summit, has also provided opportunities for a dozen of technologies and innovations companies around the world who were keen interested in India's basically problems of river basin, and some issues were also basically successfully done by these companies, which were also invited for the second time to look forward with final engagement. Now, some brief news that is important for your examination purposes. First is 23rd edition of Hornbill Festival. Vice President of India has inaugurated the 23rd edition of Hornbill Festival at the Naga Heritage Village in Nagaland. So the place and venue become important for examination purposes. Hornbill Festival take place between 1st and 10th of December every year in Nagaland. The aim of the Hornbill Festival is to revive and protect the rich culture of Nagaland and display the extravaganza and traditions. Again, important for prelims as well. DG Yatra for 3 airports in the country has been launched by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. अगर एयरपोर्ट की बात करें, इंदिरा गांधी इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट पे लॉन्च की गई. उसके अलावा अदर्स बेसिकली पार्ट ऑफ द एयरपोर्ट इंक्लूड वाराणसी एंड बेंगलुरु. DG Yatri envisage basically to have a travel pass for the checkpoints, and this will be a paperless, contactless processing using a facial features to identify an individual that will be linked to a boarding pass. You have to register yourself in the DG Yatra app, और आप ऐप में रजिस्टर करके जो बेसिक क्रेडेंशियल है वाया योर आधार कार्ड अगर आप उसे वेरीफाई करेंगे, then you will be eligible with a paperless entry to the airport. There's no need for the hard copy of the boarding pass. Griha Exemplary Performance Award. So the Union Identification Authority of India, जैसे UIDAI headquarter की बात करें, it's got a prestigious Griha Exemplary Performance Award, a top-level national green building award, right? So this is a national rating for the green building in India, and the headquarter is based in Delhi, and it was declared in the winner among the existing high-rated building category. I'll show you the image of the UADI headquarter. So this is how the new building has been awarded with such a reputed award. Some bilateral agreements and summit. The first is 17th Asia's and Pacific Regional Meeting. This meeting of the International Labour Organizations and International Work for the Center for Labour Policies, including 4 new labour code. The International Trade Union Conferences said that India's new labour code as a tripartite agreement which works on the government and give free hand to the employees as well. New social contract की बात की गई. The International Trade Union, the focus on the worker asked for the social contract, and these contract will include the availability of job for all, respect for all, fair wages including minimum wages, adequate and easily available protections, respect for equality, and inclusive and no forum for discriminations. Meeting at UNSC reform on terrorism की अगर बात करें, the meeting has presided over 2 signature events by the presidency of UN Security Council. India is holding the charge for UN presidency for the month of December. The high-level open debate were there on the theme of new orientation and reformed multilateralism. इसकी फोकस एरिया की बात की गई है कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज पे, जहां पे नीड टू रिफॉर्म द ग्लोबल गवर्नेंस एट मल्टी लेवल आर्किटेक्चर, इंक्लूडिंग द लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग रिफॉर्म एट द यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल विच इंडिया हैज़ बीन एडवोकेटेड फॉर. इंडिया ने काफ़ी ज़्यादा इस पर रिफॉर्म की बात की. इवन अगर यूएन पीस कीपिंग फोर्स की बात करें, राइट, सो इंडिया हैज़ ऑल्सो सेड दैट द वुमेन शुड एडिक्वेटली बी गिवन सम part of the recognition here, and this force is something which India has a lot more contribution, right, in terms of the peacekeeping security forces. The meeting also witnessed a briefing by the UN Secretary General and the President on the 77th UN General Assembly. Trade pact with Australia UAE to boost export. India has recently signed an agreement with UAE and Australia. The pact will help to boost the export and grant preferential access to market of Indian products. As per the Engineering Export Promotion Council, the country has benefited from the preferential trade access provided by UAE over 97 star and tariff line, which account for 99% of India's export to the regional value terms. The CEPA with UAE that is expected to increase the total value of bilateral trade with the USD of $100 billion in services and $15 billion for the 5 year. Saudi Arabia has signed the Treaty on Criminal Investigations. India and Saudi Arabia in talks with the Multi Legal Assistant Treaty, that is a form of assistance for investigation related to the criminal cases. And Saudi Arabia is a country that does not have either marked with any of the country to facilitate such investigations. Right? Recently, in November, India held the first virtual negotiation in Saudi Arabia to sign the treaty. An Indian delegation led by the officers from the Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs, CBI, and Law Ministry was the part of the delegations to sign the MLAT. Now, what is MLAT? It's a mutual legal assistance treaty, an agreement between two countries for the purpose of gathering and exchanging the information and efforts to enforce the public and criminal laws. These agreements allow the exchange of evidence and information related to the matters between the signing countries. India so far has signed MALT with 45 countries and it talked to finalize MALT with Italy and Germany as well. Advantages क्या क्या होंगे इस treaty की? Definitely it will help to get the conviction of an accused on the court of law and it will help the law enforcement agencies from India and other countries as well. The MALT is used to send the request for an investigation to the foreign countries for the collection of evidence, examination of witness, executions order, and confiscations of the assets. In the past, Saudi Arabia has deported several terrorists suspected on India's request, and treaty will help getting the conviction based on the evidence gathered through the mutual agreement. Now, some military exercises related initiatives. The exercises and initiative that is important for the examination, and this section is precisely more important for the aspirant who is preparing for the CAPF examination. 12th edition of exercise of Agni Warrior, the 12th edition of the bilateral exercises between Singapore and Indian Army has recently been concluded in the field firing range of Devali in Maharashtra. The exercise Agni War involved showcasing the gunfire power, executions, and the use of new generation equipment and artillery arm of the both forces. The exercise also inducted the participation of both sides in a joint computer war and a game part of the joint planning process. The both sides utilized the niche technology and important artillery observation stimulators as a part of the joint training phases. The exercise achieved at the aim of enhancing the mutual understanding on the drills and also procedures for improving the interoperability between the two armies, that is for the Indian Army and the Singapore Army. 39th edition of India-Indonesia Cordial Patrol. This is the coordinated patrol between the two countries where they will be conducted actually from 8th and 19th of December. The Indian Navy ship in the Karmuk as indigenously built missile corvette that is a part of the pre-deployment briefing which was there in Indonesia. The corvette will be executed along with the international maritime border line and will be concluded with a debrief at Port Blair. The India and Indonesia will be carrying the corvette twice a year in 2002 with the aim of keeping the vital part of the IOR and safe and secure commercial shipping, international trade, conducting of legitimate marine activities. 17th round of India-China Corps Commander level meeting. This meeting, I know, specifically talking about the line of actual control. अगर लैक की बात करें, meeting काफी बार हुई है, but the success has not yet met. ये 17th round of talk है, इसमें भी बात हुई, and even this was specifically for the region of the Chuktul model border meeting that from the Chinese side took place. The two sides engaged views on the resolutions for the relevant issues of line of actual control, Western sector, which is an open and destructive manner. They had frank in-depth discussions, keeping in the guidance provided by the state leaders to work for resolutions and even to provide restoration of peace and tranquility among the line of actual control is the Western sector and enable the bilateral relationship. Both countries agreed to maintain the security and stability on the ground of the Western sector. Now, fifth Scorpion class submarine Wagir was established. So India की जो Navy है will receive the first Scorpion submarine Wagir ahead of its planned commissioning in the next month. So it was commissioned a month before. The introductions of the submarine is a part under the Project 75. I think most of you must be aware of the Project 75. If not, do check it our daily news and analysis video where I've discussed this in detail. So it sets to bolster the combat of the capabilities. Briefly मैं बता देता हूँ Project 75 क्या है. It's include the indigenously construction of the 6 submarine Scorpion design, and these submarines are being constructed by the Macazon Dock Shipyard Limited, which is there in Mumbai, in collaboration with the Navy Group of France. The sixth and the last edition of the Scorpion submarine, Workshire, was launched in water in April 22 and is expected to deliver to Navy by 2023 end. So the Navy capabilities in terms of submarine and Scorpion class submarine has augmented to a larger extent and at the global level. So this was the last topic for the discussion of the PIB analysis for the month of December. We have a lot more other initiatives. Before I end this is an image that is going, this is how it's actually look like, right? So you can have this image. And before I end this session, I would just like to tell you that we have a lot more other initiatives for you, like daily news and editorial analysis, IAS Guest in magazine, FC has already released today. PIB की compilations है, MPR is already there, Just of Yojana and Kurukshetra. All this initiative will help you to sail through the journey of civil services. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.